ScouterStan. Let's talk about some camping etiquette. Ever had a peaceful night under the stars ruined by noisy neighbors? Or found your campsite littered with trash from the previous campers? These experiences can turn a dream camping trip into a nightmare. But with just a few simple guidelines, we can all enjoy the great outdoors while respecting nature and each other. Let's get into the must-know rules of camping etiquette that every outdoor enthusiast should follow. One of the big ones is respecting nature. In scouting, we have the principles of leave no trace, reminding ourselves that what we pack in, we can pack out, taking care of all the trash, minimizing campfires, impacts, and respecting wildlife. We avoid trying to blaze new trails when perfectly good trails are available, and avoid damaging vegetation by just setting off a new path. Reminding ourselves to always camp at designated sites. This is important, using established campsites to preserve natural areas. So one of the big things is this leave no trace principles that we have in scouting. Noise control. This is something that comes up all the time. There should be designated times when it's important to keep the noise level low, especially during early morning and late at night. Having a respect for neighbors, especially if you're on a camporee, it's important to be considerate of the other campers' experience by avoiding loud music and loud voices. Now, sometimes this can be true if you're in an area where not everyone camping is bound by the scouting beliefs of leave no trace and being considerate to others. All too often these days, people are in their own world, even though other people around them are affected by their behavior. There are rules when dealing with a campfire, and in scouting, we believe safety first. Make sure that campfires or open flames are allowed in your camping area. If there is a fire ring established area where fires or campfires are done, they should be maintained. In scouting, it's important that when we're looking at firewood, that needs to be appropriate. And a lot of times we bring our own firewood that we need. Wildlife is important, no matter that area. Secure from your food so that they're not tempted to destroy whatever container that is laying out. And just the smellables of that can be very attractive to all wildlife. Sanitation and hygiene is important. After all, a scout is clean. The bathroom etiquette, if there's a facility, and monitored so that men and women have individual times that they can use those facilities and stay within the youth protection training. Sometimes the bathroom is not available. There's no facilities. So there should be a proper way to dispose of human waste. In some areas, you may be required to safely dispose of that waste on your way out of the area. Now, as far as washing up any dishes or any of that stuff, you need to make sure that you're using a biodegradable soap and make sure that the water you rinse with is from a good water source. Now, respecting a campsite boundaries. There are a lot of occasions when scouts go off to a camporee, a jubilee, the different types of group camping with many other scout troops. On arrival, the troop or pack are given a set area to set up their camp. Now, typically, they try to leave enough room for the large troops and facilitate a lot of the small troops. So depending on the size of the unit will depend on the size of your camping area, your boundaries. Working with other units is important so that you have enough space to keep the campsite contained. Now, a lot of Cub Scout packs will organize in a family camping situation, whereas troops will divide a lot of the scouts into their patrols. So each patrol would have its own camp area within the total campsite boundaries for the troop. Now, sharing common areas like picnic tables and campfire rings, this is something that can be done individually or as a group. Now, a lot of packs and troops will encounter other family camping, and there is pet etiquette for them. One of the primary ones is that they should keep their pets leashed at all times, and they should also clean up after them. This is to be mindful of everyone using the camping facilities. Scout leaders need to be aware that some scouts may not be comfortable around animals, and it's important to understand that they should be respected by all the campers using the facilities. This can be very stressful for Cub Scouts. Younger scouts tend to be very open to animals and want to greet or pet the animal, but this may be disruptive to the entire camping purpose. So it's important that boundaries are made and that it's quite literally understood that the scout should respect the animals and leave them alone. I can remember many times talking with scout leaders who are angry at some of the Cub Scouts for chasing ducks and other wildlife in the area. It's important to have those boundaries so that these cases are kept to a minimum and decreasing the distractions. Leaving the campsite and making sure that you've picked up all your equipment, all your belongings, and all the trash. It's important to leave the campsite as you found it, or better, by cleaning up all the trash and ensure that everything is picked up and clean. Some troops and even Cub Scout packs will even do a police line where they will go through and inspect the grounds to make sure that all the little candy wrappers and the little cellophane straw covers are picked up, even though they're lost in the leaves. Emergency preparedness. This is one of those things that scout leaders need to be ready for. A first aid kit should be in the campsite and ready with all of the required medical forms if needed. Adult leaders need to have an emergency plan. Discuss the importance of having a plan in case of an emergency, including knowing the location of the nearest ranger station or emergency services. Adult leaders need to have that plan B in case something occurs where they have to react and keep our scouts safe. Now, when camping, a general courtesy, greet fellow campers should always encourage a friendly attitude, such as greeting fellow campers on the trail and at the campsite. Always be willing, if you see someone struggling with their gear or setting up a tent, offer to help if it's appropriate. Always remember that if you have to go through another campsite, to call out to those campers that you wish to go through. This is a common courtesy when camping. Scout leaders need to be that example, not the exception. This way they can be observed by the scouts and actually start mimicking exactly their behavior. We do so much for our scouts, and I'm so proud of you in taking a moment just to think about the courtesy when we go camping. Enjoy that great outdoors and give that experience to the scouts that they so rightly deserve. Thank you for all you do, and I'll see you on the trail.